Okay, so you want to own vending machines. Buy a machine, drop it in a busy hallway, and watch the coins and card taps roll in while you do nothing. No employees, no rent for a storefront, no angry customers to manage face to face. You just refill it once a week and collect the cash. That's the plan in your head, and on the surface it looks like the closest thing to passive income a normal person can actually buy into. Walk past a vending machine in a busy office building at lunchtime, and you'll see the appeal. People walking up, tapping a card, grabbing a soda, walking away in 15 seconds. No cashier, no small talk, just money moving in one direction. You watch that and think, this is just a metal box eating dollar bills all day. Simple. Here's the problem. You are looking at the one machine, in the one good location, at the one busy hour. The truth is that a vending machine is not really a snack business. It is a real estate business that happens to sell chip. And the moment you understand that difference, everything about how this business actually makes money and how it quietly bleeds it starts to make sense. There isn't one type of vending machine business. There are several, and each one is a different bet wearing the same coin slot. At the bottom end, you have used mechanical machines. No cashless reader, no telemetry, just a coin box and a spiral. These run $1,200 to $3,000 refurbished. They're cheap to buy and cheap to break. In the middle, you have modern combo machines. Snacks and drinks in one unit, with card readers and basic remote monitoring. New, these run $3,000 to $5,000. At the top, you have smart micro-markets and telemetry-loaded machines. The kind that text you when they're low on Doritos and flag which slot is jammed before you even drive over. These run $5,000 to $10,000 per unit, sometimes more for a full micro-market kiosk setup. Here's the decision that trips up almost everyone starting. How many machines do you buy on day one? A single machine feels safe. Low risk, low cost. But a single machine is also a business with no redundancy. If that one location goes bad, your entire income goes to zero overnight. Most operators who actually make real money aren't running one machine. They're running a route typically 15 to 30 machines minimum before the numbers start working in their favor, because the real cost isn't the machine, it's the driving. This is where the business actually gets decided, and it happens before you've bought a single candy bar. You don't place a machine wherever you want. You need permission from a building owner, a school, a hospital, an apartment complex, a factory floor manager. And that permission almost always comes with a price. A commission, typically 5% to 25% of gross sales, paid straight to the location owner every single month, whether you like it or not. High traffic, low competition spots, a factory floor with 400 workers and no cafeteria can command commissions on the low end because they need you more than you need them. But the obvious spots, the busy hospital lobby, the community college hallway, are already locked up by operators who signed multi-year contracts years ago. You're not just competing for customers, you're competing for real estate, and the good real estate is already spoken for. Break this rule, and you end up with what operators call a dead route, machines placed in locations with the wrong foot traffic, the wrong crowd, or the wrong hours, quietly losing money every month while looking, on paper, like an asset. Let's actually run the numbers, because this is where the fantasy meets the spreadsheet. Say you buy a $2 candy bar. Its wholesale cost roughly 75 cents to $1. You price it at $2 in the machine. That's a gross margin of 50% to 60% before anything else is subtracted. Sounds great. Now subtract the location commission, let's say 15%. Subtract card processing fees, typically 5% to 10% per cashless transaction, and cashless now makes up over 60% of vending sales industry-wide, up from almost nothing a decade ago. Subtract spoilage and shrinkage, expired snacks you have to pull and toss plus theft, which runs higher than most new owners expect, especially in machines placed in low supervision areas. By the time all of that is subtracted, your real net margin per item often lands closer to 20% to 30%, not the 50% you started with. A machine that looks like it's pulling in $400 a month in sales might be putting $80 to $120 of actual profit in your pocket before you've accounted for the gas it took to drive there and refill it. This is the number that breaks most new operators' business plans before they even realize it's broken. Here's the idea that changes how you see the whole industry. One machine is a hobby. A route is a business. A single technician can service roughly 20 to 40 machines a week, depending on how spread out they are and how often each one needs restocking. That servicing time, driving, loading, cash collection, and minor repairs is the real operating cost of this business, and it scales completely differently than the machines themselves. Two machines 5 minutes apart cost you almost nothing extra in driving time. Two machines that are 45 minutes apart cost you nearly an hour of unpaid driving for every single restock trip, for the rest of the time you own that machine. This is why experienced operators obsess over route density, clustering machines geographically far more than they obsess over finding the single best individual location. A slightly worse location 5 minutes from your other 9 machines beats a slightly better location that's 40 minutes away every time, once you actually do the math on your own hourly cost. This is also why so many new operators quietly go out of business within the first year without ever having a single machine get vandalized or a single location cancel their contract. They just did the math on driving time wrong, and their passive income turned into a part-time unpaid delivery job with negative margins once gas and time were factored in. Vending machines aren't just logistics, they're a psychology experiment running 24 hours a day. The pricing works because of the friction of alternatives. At 3 p.m. in an office building, the nearest convenience store might be a 10-minute walk. The machine down the hall is 30 seconds away. That convenience premium is where the real margin lives. People aren't comparison shopping a vending machine against a grocery store's per unit price. They're comparing it against the 10 minutes of their afternoon they'd rather not spend walking somewhere else. Slot placement matters more than most owners realize. Items placed at eye level and in the first 2 columns sell dramatically better than identical items placed in the bottom rows, which is why experienced operators rotate their best margin items, not their best-selling items, into prime slot real estate. The machine doesn't just sell what people want. It quietly steers what people want toward what's most profitable to sell. And cashless payment changed the psychology entirely. Cash forces a moment of friction. Do I have exact change? Is this really worth $2 in bills? A tap-to-pay card removes that friction almost completely, which is a major reason cashless-enabled machines report meaningfully higher average transaction volumes than coin-only machines in head-to-head location comparisons. The machine got faster to use, and faster is more profitable. Vending has a lower barrier to entry than almost any other small business, which means it also has one of the highest failure rates for solo operators who scale too fast. The common failure pattern looks like this. An operator has early success with 2 or 3 machines in genuinely good locations. Encouraged, they take on debt or drain savings to buy 10 more machines quickly, placing them in whatever locations they can get permission for because good locations are scarce and they're in a hurry. Several of those new locations turn out to be low traffic. The driving time between machines balloons. Restocking falls behind schedule because the operator, still working solo, can't physically keep up with 13 machines spread across a wide radius. Machines start running empty during peak hours, which is the single fastest way to lose a location's trust. An empty machine earns a location owner nothing and makes them look bad to their own tenants or employees. Contracts get canceled. The operator is left holding machines they can't place anywhere good, still making loan or lease payments on equipment that's now sitting in a garage. None of this happened because vending machines stopped being a viable business. It happened because the growth outran the logistics that make the business actually work. The machines were never the bottleneck. The route was. In the optimistic scenario, you've built a genuinely dense route of 20 to 25 machines in strong, tightly clustered locations, kept your commission rates reasonable, and stayed disciplined about restocking on schedule. Under those conditions, A route like that can generate $3,000 to $8,000 a month in net profit for an owner-operator who's still doing the restocking themselves, scaling towards six figures a year once you're running enough machines to justify hiring a part-time helper. In the realistic scenario, your route is more scattered than planned, commissions run at the higher end, a couple of your best locations get renegotiated or lost to a competitor, and theft or spoilage eats more of your margin than expected. That same 20-machine operation can slide down to $1,000 to $2,500 a month. Profitable, but a lot closer to a part-time job with the risk of a small business owner than the passive income dream that got you into this in the first place. The difference between those two outcomes was never about the machines. It was about the routes, the driving time, and the discipline to say no to a bad location just because it was the only one available that week. So if you're thinking about vending machines, remember the one thing that actually determines whether you succeed. It was never really about how many machines you can buy. It's about how tightly you can cluster the locations you can actually keep full.